This episode is brought to you by Starbucks. Smooth, bright, deliciously crafted. Introducing Starbucks and Sarah Blend, their smoothest, brightest coffee yet. It's a new kind of light roast, one that's packed with so much flavor, it shines no matter how you brew it. So go ahead and try it hot, iced, black, or with a splash of creamer. Visit athome.starbucks.com/sunsera-blend-coffee to bring Starbucks Sunsera Blend home.
How do you top your love for your cat? With a cascade of decadent savory gravy over a mouth-watering mousse pâté. Fancy Feast gems. 2 gourmet pâtés in one convenient pack. Simply peel and plate to reveal a pyramid shape that makes eating delightful and pamper her with an experience as extraordinary as she is. Turn the everyday into the extraordinary with Fancy Feast gems.
Hello and welcome to I Talk to Ghosts, the podcast where the veil is thin and time sometimes doubles back on itself. I'm your haunted host, Jennifer, a spirit medium and a teller of ghost stories. Tonight, I want to tell you something strange, something spooky, something that could be personal in the most unexpected way. What if the ghost you encountered was you? Tonight, we're going to explore real-life accounts where the line between time, spirit, and self begins to blur. Stories where people experience hauntings, only to later realize they were haunting themselves all along. Spoilers? I've lit the candles, pour yourself a cup of tea, and settle in. Because sometimes, with that bump in the night, you might just be bumping into yourself. After the spooky, stay for the spiritual, I have a new message from the spirits tonight, so join me at my séance table. If you're new to this segment, as a medium, I open up the space for someone who has passed, connected to someone listening to the podcast. And since you're attending, this message could be personal to you. That's later on in the podcast. But first, the spooky. Come join yourself right now. We usually think of hauntings as something external, spirits of the dead, lost souls, entities with unfinished business. But what if the haunting isn't coming from the beyond, but from some other moment in time, a moment you haven't even lived yet? In paranormal circles, this is sometimes called a time slip haunting, or a residual haunting caused by the living. It's when someone experiences ghost-like activity, footsteps, voices, even apparitions, only to later discover they themselves created the experience, either by reliving it from another perspective or by unintentionally projecting their energy through time. Isn't this fascinating? I find this concept so intriguing. These events could be tied to intense emotion, trauma, or psychic sensitivity. And yes, it sounds like science fiction, but wait till you hear the stories. I've listened to enough ghost stories to know that sometimes the ones that stay with you the longest aren't the loud, terrifying ones. They're the quiet ones, the ones that feel like they're waiting for you to understand them. This happened to me about 6 years ago. It was a Tuesday. I remember that clearly because I had taken the day off work for absolutely no reason. I just needed a break. Life was fine, but I woke up that morning with this heavy feeling I just couldn't shake. I spent most of the day puttering around the house, avoiding my phone, trying to bake something just to feel like I got something done. It was a warm spring afternoon, light was pouring through my kitchen windows, and my dog was snoozing by my feet. I was at my sink, clearing up the dishes, when something caught my eye. There was someone sitting at my kitchen table. I didn't hear them come in. The back door was still locked. But there she was, a woman, sitting perfectly still, her head down, wrapped in her arms on the table. Her hair was pulled back the same way I wore mine when I didn't care how I looked. I wasn't immediately scared. In fact, a wave of hollow sadness seemed to pass from her to me. I stood there frozen. I didn't speak. I didn't know what to do. She didn't look up. She just sat there. And then, as quickly as I saw her, she was gone. I thought maybe I imagined it, a trick of light, a stress hallucination, but deep down, I knew she had been there. Now here's the part that still makes me shiver. Almost exactly a year later, my mother passed away, very suddenly. It was awful and quiet. After the funeral, I came home. Without thinking, I made a cup of coffee and sat down at the kitchen table, in that same chair, and I put my arms on the table and rested my head in them. I missed my mom so much. And I remembered. This was familiar. I'd seen this. It was me that day in the kitchen. I had somehow witnessed my own future grief. The woman I saw wasn't a ghost, not in the way we think of ghosts. She was me from a day I didn't know was coming. And now I wonder, when I saw her, was I being warned or comforted? Or maybe I was just offered a glimpse of how deep love can go and how long it can stay with us. I have something a little different to share. It's not a classic ghost story, but it's one of the most haunting experiences I've ever had. This happened during a really stressful time in my life. I just lost my job, my relationship was falling apart, and I was feeling completely unmoored. One night, I turned off my phone. I just needed to disconnect. I needed some quiet, no more mental chatter, no more doom scrolling. The next morning, I turned my phone back on and I found I had a voicemail. No caller ID, no location. Here's the thing. The voice on the message sounded exactly like me. Not similar, not close. It was my voice. Same tone, same cadence, a little distorted like it had been recorded from a distance or underwater. And the message, it said, "It's going to be okay. You feel lost, but you won't stay there. Keep going. Please, don't stop." Then it cut off. No other sound, no follow-up, just that. I checked the timestamp. It had been left sometime during the night while my phone was powered off. I tried everything to trace it to recover more audio. I didn't know what I was doing, but I didn't find anything. There was no record of the number in my provider's system. I kept the message saved for several months, listening to it whenever I felt like I was falling apart, and it helped. Strangely, it felt like comfort, like maybe future me knew I needed it. It's years later now, and things are better, more stable, but sometimes I wonder, what if I will send that message someday? What if we really can send parts of ourselves back across time or the veil or whatever, not from death, but maybe linked to our emotions? Maybe ghosts are just versions of ourselves trying to leave breadcrumbs. trying to remind us that things get better and to keep going. I've never really told this story before, not in full anyway, because it just sounds impossible. But I've played it over and over in my mind so many times, and the more I think about it, the more certain I am of what really happened. I think I haunted myself. When I was 10, we lived in a small farmhouse just outside of town. The upstairs was always a little spooky. The hallway especially. It was narrow, dim, and the floorboards creaked when you walked through it. My bedroom was at the far end, past the bathroom and the linen closet. Every few weeks, I'd wake up in the middle of the night to the sound of footsteps coming down the hallway. Slow, deliberate steps. They'd stop right outside my door, and I'd freeze under the covers, convinced that someone or something was standing outside my room. The door never opened, but I always felt watched, like whoever was out there was deciding something. When this happened, I always felt so nervous, so unsettled, with anxiety that I just couldn't place. I never had the courage to get out of bed to check. I just lie there, my heart pounding against my ribcage, until sleep eventually dragged me back. This went on for over a year. My parents thought it was just my imagination, but I dreaded nighttime. I even started sleeping with music on just to drown out the silence and whatever might be walking through it. Eventually, life went on. Fast forward to last summer. I'm in my 30s now, married, with a kid of my own. My parents still own the old farmhouse, and they asked if I'd stay there for a weekend while they were out of town, just to keep an eye on things. My daughter stayed with my husband, and I figured I'd have a nostalgic little solo trip. I packed a book and a bottle of wine, and I stayed in my old bedroom. That first night there, I couldn't sleep. It felt like no time had passed. Everything was exactly the same, even the creaky hallway floor. Around midnight, I was antsy that night, nervous. I had so much unsettled energy. I decided to walk the house, check the windows, just settle my nerves. When I was heading back to my bedroom and I stepped into the hallway, I had this wave of deja vu. I started walking slowly, and the floorboards creaked beneath each step, exactly the way I remembered them. The echo, the same rhythm. I reached my old bedroom door and stopped. I was standing in the same place the ghost always had. The same time of night, the same slow footsteps. And in my mind's eye, I could see myself, 10 years old, hiding under the covers, terrified of me. I was the ghost I'd been afraid of. I stood there, trying to make sense of it. No ghosts, no tricks, just me. A moment that folded back on itself, my energy that had nowhere else to go, but back. Now I wonder, did my younger self sense something outside of time? Was that moment always meant to happen? Did I create the haunting? Or did it create me? I'll never understand it. Anyway, thank you for giving me a place to tell this. It helps me look back at things differently. Sometimes, the scariest ghost is the one wearing your own footsteps.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello and welcome back to I Talk to Ghosts. I have a message from the spirits this evening for someone listening to the podcast. So thank you for joining me here at my séance table. Tonight, as I open up my spirit space, I have with me to work with star rose quartz. If you're not familiar with star rose quartz, it's a type of rose quartz that has inclusions in it. So when you look at it under direct light, you'll see a beautiful star-like pattern in areas of the stone. This stone is said to invoke feelings of warmth and tenderness, and it facilitates emotional healing. That is star rose quartz. Okay, I'm gonna take a deep breath, clear my mind, open the space. As I open up this space, I immediately am feeling a woman beside me. She is showing me that she was older when she passed. This is an elderly woman. I'm immediately getting incredibly warm all over, and I am getting the impression that she lived in a warm climate. She's showing me her back patio. This feels like a very welcoming gathering place that you would be familiar with. This feels like she was a friend of the family, a friend of your mother's, and is very, very much missed. I feel as if these sensations are my own, that she was very sheltering and a bubble of love that it seemed like you could walk into. Like she was someone who made everything feel brighter and friendly, just welcoming. The type of person who you could come to with your troubles, and she always had a positive perspective and a slight smile on her face, whether she was talking or not. I see her just serenely gazing out at her back lawn and having that type of comforting energy that draws you in, and it's like you immediately let out a deep breath and sync up with that frequency of hers. I'm hearing her sandals kind of do that clicking flip-flop noise when she walked, and I'm hearing the words sweet tea. She's expressing that she's sorry that she had to go, the timing of her passing, just being the type of person that she is. She knew other things were going on in your family circle, and she cares that this was another impact for your family and for your mom. Her message for you tonight is to always lead with your heart, and that was her secret. She tried to see everything from a perspective of love and comfort, and that was the energy that she brought with her. She wants to give that to you now, as well as encourage you to shift when you can, to do the same. If there is something new that you want to venture out and attempt, make sure to support yourself in that process and to focus on the best possible outcomes that could happen. Don't discourage yourself before you even start. Also, make sure you align yourself with people who have supporting perspectives for you. And if someone kind of disagrees with what it is you want to do, consider the source before you really invest in their attitude about it. I hope that makes sense. Okay, I think I'm going to leave it at that. If this message connects for you, you can always email me at speaknow@italktoghost.com. I know that on a personal level, I've had a little bit of a hectic year so far compared to normal, but trust me, I do read every email and every contact submission that comes into the I Talk to Ghosts website because I care an incredible amount, no matter what I'm doing. Thanks for sharing this space with me this evening. And with that, dear listener, we've reached the end of this episode of I Talk to Ghosts. I hope you've enjoyed those strange, unique stories of ghosts that are possibly you. Have you ever experienced a moment in time that perhaps you've already lived in a different moment? How fascinating. I would love to hear your story, so please reach out. I also hope that you enjoyed my spirit work this evening. And if you happen to be one waiting for a message from the spirits to be for you, perhaps the next one will be yours. And if it is, you need to let me know. In the meantime, wherever you wander off to in this world or the next, just remember, come back and visit with me. Have a lovely evening and good night.
Welcome to Brew Crime, a true crime and beer podcast. Join me, Mike,
and me, JT,
as we explore the world of crime, conspiracies, or whatever catches our attention. This is a podcast where we pick a theme, cover a few cases, and pair them with a brew.
Between themes, we do what we call Brew Crime News, a funny look at current news stories, be it crime, animals, sports, or even celebrities.
You can find us on all social media at Brew Crime. Our website is brewcrime.com, and you can find us on any podcast app at Brew Crime Podcast.
Join us as we discuss the horrible crimes that surround us, and maybe, definitely, tip a bottle or two back as you do it. Drink with us weekly.
Welcome to Weekly Creep, a mostly paranormal podcast hosted by me, Adam.
And me, Dulce.
We like to talk about all things strange and spooky.
We've covered everything from werewolves to poltergeists, survival stories, and even a little weird nature because why not? We also enjoy reading listener stories and talking about movies, books, TV shows, and games that we're really into at the moment.
Or going to spooky places and chatting about our experiences, like when I may have received a telepathic image of a little ghost girl at the Stanley Hotel.
Or when I heard high heels walking around my home in the middle of the night.
Anyway, there's over 100 episodes of Weekly Creep already on our feed, so look us up wherever you get your podcasts and get caught up.